Welcome to J Lowe Artist YouTube channel. Today we'll be using oil pastels. We're going to be trying it on some different surfaces. We'll tell you about that in a bit. Get out your oil pastels and some white charcoal. White charcoal pencil is just as easy as anything. Come and draw with us. Oil pastels are really a very nice medium to use. They're quite inexpensive. 25 set of oil pastels like this cost around $5 or so. We will be drawing on some board. This is called velvet board. This velvet board, it's a matte board, and you can get it at any place that does framing. I like to go get center cuts. You can see it's just a matte board. It's got a nap to it. There's kind of a velvety, soft, kind of plushy nap to it, and this is going to grab the pastels. And when you're all done, it gives us this nice kind of a textured look, but it really grabs the pastel and holds on to the color. So we're just going to be laying in those pastels using pure color and getting a kind of a impressionistic style picture. We're going to sketch on with white charcoal. White charcoal is fast, and it doesn't really damage the color from the pastels at all. So we're going to be using that. Today we're going to be doing a buffalo and its baby, like that. So I've chosen this nice brown, kind of a creamy brown board here, and we're going to be using this picture as inspiration for us. So let's get going. And then we're going to go ahead and sketch it on like we always do, simple shapes. I'm just going to start out and just establish where everything goes. I really want the nose of the mama buffalo to be pretty close to the edge. In the pic, it's a little bit close. So I'm going to move it over just a little bit and just say, well, I want her nose to be about right in there. So her head's going to come up here, you know, someplace up in there, and you can just kind of start sketching it on there if you want. Beard kind of comes down to here, and then there's an arch here. The back is going to come up here, come along, go down. And the rear end, the back end, I think is going to be fine right to the end. This one in the pic, it kind of cuts it off a little bit. But here, I think we'll just kind of come in. Leave ourselves a little bit of room for some grass growing up in there. And then, of course, our little baby, that little baby buffalo is going to be about right in here. Not very big when they're born. They're kind of cute. I think they call them little red dogs or something like that. Cute little buffaloes. Bison, I should say. I just kind of put it in as fast as you can. You can use simple shapes if you'd like. And just remember that this is a guideline for us. It's not the end of the world. You know, we try to make them as close as we can, but we understand that as we draw, we kind of adjust, make things a little bit better. And anything else you think you need, maybe some of the, here's the line where her, the mane or the larger part of the hair kind of comes to. In there, maybe drop that down a little bit more. The cool thing about this charcoal is you can erase it off of here. It's going to sit on the surface and be very superficial. And that's always kind of nice. And that's really about it. Everything else we can kind of get in with the pastels. So I'm going to start out with my pastels. You can start out with the light color since this is very dark. Maybe that's what I want to do, is start out with a little bit of white, or maybe this light pale brown kind of a cream color. Maybe that's what you want to do, start out kind of with the white. This is white, and of course the white on the brown, the brown is going to come through, and so it's not going to look really stark white. I'm just looking at the lightest areas and just drawing the lightest areas in. You can see how this velvet picks up the oil pastels here. And it's just lovely to draw on. If you like pastels and you like this sort of thing, this is a great method to use. It reminds me, you know, back when I was a small child, there were some paintings that were coming out of Mexico that were done on velvet, and you know, matadors and things. You could find them in the street. This kind of reminds me of it a little bit, you know. You can use this light to get your texture in. If there's like little edges and lines that you think, I don't really need those, you can take your kneaded eraser and you can erase those. Sometimes you can rub them out with your finger too. So I can erase that quite easily with my kneaded eraser here. Anything that I don't think I need, you can just kind of rub it out. You know, erasers were called rubbers in the beginning. I think that's where the term rubber comes from. It's some guy picked up a piece of tree sap that had hardened and was rubbing his pencil with it. Yeah, back in those days, they used to use old bread and all sorts of things as erasers. I know, crazy, huh? They called them rubbers because you'd rub it off. And picked that up, and it worked. And he said, boy, this rubber works great. And that's where the term rubber came from. It just kind of stuck for that tree sap. Now you know. Yeah. Weird things you learn online, huh? So I'm not really concerned about drawing a line around anything. Really what I'm trying to do is just create the lighter shapes, and thus you'll get your object coming through. You don't need to draw lines around everything. I know I've tried to hit that quite heavily in this series. My students always feel like they have to draw a line around things, so I've kind of made it my goal to disparage them from doing that. You know, I'm always people ask me, well, how do you know where to put things? You know, I don't always put things in the right place. I just kind of feel where it's supposed to go and go from there. Here's the black. I'm trying to get some of that fur in there. Some of these little dark areas. This is just going to help me define my edges and where things go, without having to draw a line around everything. And I can come back into this with whatever colors I feel like. And that's the thing about Impressionism, is you kind of look at it and you go, well, you know, what colors am I impressed with? What colors do I feel like I need to use? What colors do I think I see? And then go from there. And you may just decide that you want to use purples instead of gray, or, you know, you almost have to decide in your mind that you're going to be a little open to some different colors and different textures and things, and then as it comes up, you just go for it. Since we're doing this on this brown board, you can use this color in your forms. It's always good to do that anyway. Just gives you some unity. I'm not really trying to get the exact thing. I'm not doing a portrait really of this bison. I'm trying to give a good representation of this noble beast and still be very artsy with it. Okay, you want to make sure this is doing your subject matter and your art justice. That horn is too long. And you see how I adjust as I go. I mean, it's not always perfect. Perfection is maybe a goal in some things, as long as we understand that it's rarely ever able to be achieved. And perfection is kind of a subjective thing anyway, because it's in the mind of the person. I covered up that white that I had in there. It's because it wasn't in the right place. Sometimes we get in our mind something that we really want to have, and when we don't get it, we're like, oh, this is not working out. I think sometimes we need to just lighten up and allow it to do its thing. I think sometimes we need to be guided by our subject matter as well as our mediums. Just kind of let it happen. Let it do its thing. Whatever that is. I think as humans we try to force things too much. In my opinion. I think it's because we like to control things. We like to have things turn out the way we want them to. I guess I understand that more than many because of my art. It rarely does turn out exactly the way you want it to. Sometimes you're surprised and think, wow, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And other times, you're disappointed. All right, so now we've got our basics, and now we need to maybe start thinking about what kind of colors do you want to have in here. Now, what's the look that you want to achieve here? Our cute little red dog there. Isn't he cute? It's like he knew somebody was taking a picture of him. Like, yeah. Or her. Okay, what's some good color in there? I'm gonna do a little bit of blue up here in this horn. I like that blue, and maybe even a little bit of purple down in there. Ooh, some of this purple might be nice too. That color is always... Look how nice that color turned out. Isn't that nice? Yeah. And along with that purple, I think we need some purple here in the mane, right here. Up in that area. Some purple down in there. That's nice. Kind of a reddish, you know, it takes on some of the brown there and turns a little more red, I think. And again, we're being very impressionistic. Kind of look at it and go, okay, what colors am I impressed with? What colors can I use here? It's nice. Maybe some purple up here on the end. You know, color, especially when you're talking about things that are black. You know, black isn't necessarily a color. It's kind of all the colors mixed together. So you can do a lot of things with that. Blues and purples over the top of your black. This is that light brown. What color was it? Pale brown. You could easily use a yellow or a light peach or something like that. That's a lovely color. I want to bring out some of that red tone in there too. So I'm thinking about reds. What kind of reds can I add to that? Some of that brown, we might want to leave that brown in there. Cute little feller. And as you work, you're going to find that those pastels start to take on a life of their own, and you can be a little freer, a little more spontaneous with them. Pressure too, you can add pressure, you can roll them from back and forth. There's just a lot you can do with those. And like Impressionism, you know, you're not bound by the local color, by the color that you think you see. You can add whatever you want to it, whatever you feel like. Part of art is communicating, being able to tell somebody what you're feeling or seeing or what you want to feel or want to see. So there's a lot you can do there. And move him down so you can see his little nose up there. Is that better? Okay, what are some other colors we want to see in there? There's a little orange. That might be nice. Just here and there. Don't need it everywhere. That orange is going to add that kind of red look to our little calf. Let's see. What about some green? Here's some dark green. That dark green might be really nice in there. Like I say, it is really up to you what you decide. Blue would have worked here too, like that dark blue, this indigo blue. This would work up in there too. You can soften the edges if you'd like. You can take your finger and rub it a little bit, and can soften it a little bit. Wish I had a paler purple. This is Old Rose. It's kind of a peachy, pinky, peachy kind of color. That might be kind of fun here and there too. Yeah, it might be a little light. But we can always go back over it with something else. So here I am just rubbing in some of that, giving it some little bit of depth. Now, maybe some of this lighter blue would be good up in there. Ooh, I like that. That's nice. But see how the color just gives it a whole new kind of a life? And all that color. How nice is that? Like I say, you shouldn't feel obligated to get it exactly like you see it. And as you layer in those colors, Look how fantastic that starts to look. All those beautiful bright colors. You can take as much time on this or as little time as you feel like you need. So far I've been using mostly blues and purples. You have quite a bit of this black in there. The black is just for my values. I need that to get that contrast in there. This yellow, what is that? Yellow orange? That's really pretty. I like that. Adds a little variety to it. A little warmth to it too. That's nice. That might be, that might be a little red for it, but I kind of like that on there over the yellow and the orange. This is that blue. I really like that dark blue mixed up in there. Let's look at our scrap here. Hopefully yours is starting to look this way, that you're getting a kaleidoscope of color, that you're enjoying the process, and that you're being able to look at it and go, wow, this is a little better than I thought it was going to be. About ready to start adding some grass down in there. Got this kind of light green that's kind of pretty. Do some little grass kinds of things kind of coming up into it like this. And you know, the cool thing about the grass is nobody cares. If it's a certain type of grass or not. I mean, that's not what's important. What's important is the texture. And I guess the color here. You just can have it kind of hanging out there like that. Have some kind of going over the top. There's lots of different greens that you can use. Here's a dark green. Have some, you need some shadows in there. And you know, there's lighter and darker types of grass kind of all grow together. You can even add a little bit of yellow to that if you wanted to, because you know, there's going to be some warm grass here and there. And it might be, you know, depending on the amount of water that they get, all that. Yeah, some yellow to that. Little bison baby here is kind of coming through. I get asked all the time, how long does it take you to do something? My initial answer is longer than it should. But you know, we always want things to go a little faster than they do. Man, I think it's that way in just about everything you do. Sometimes you just can't rush it. You know, I've heard this saying, you can't rush art. Well, you can. It just doesn't turn out well. Or maybe the word is as well as you think it should, as well as you'd like it to. There are times when you need to rush, like when you've got a model and that model needs to move. And you think to yourself, golly, I should have drawn faster. Yep. certainly are times when you need to rush it a little bit. I totally understand. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm pretty well done with this, you take it as far as you want to go. You can keep working on it and really getting it tightly detailed, which I usually like very detailed things. If you look at my portfolio, you'll see a lot of very photographic kinds of things. I really like that. But then there are times when I like this sort of thing too. Now that you've layered in your colors and it's looking fairly good, the more you add to it, the more detail you're going to get. Stronger contrasts. Some people would say that if you work it too much, you get rid of some of that freshness. And that is a concern, I guess. And you just kind of have to work it until you're happy with it. However long that is, I don't know. And maybe you've got things that you've got to get doing. I totally understand. I appreciate you coming along on this little journey with me, though. Drawing along with me. I hope that somehow I've helped to make your life a little bit nicer, a little bit better. A little more enjoyable. Hopefully you've discovered a nice interest or a hobby or just a release. Sometimes it's nice to just do something like this to get away from everything. Just release some of those emotions and feelings. Sometimes it's nice to get away from all the cares of the world and just relax and create something that's beautiful, something you can hang on the wall, something nice. Or at least something that you can say, look what I created. Find joy in it. Because it is my true belief that art can make life better. So as I'm layering in colors, again, you kind of decide how far you want to go with this and where it's going to take you. Like I say, it's kind of totally up to you where you want to go with it. This is pink. I just got this odd feeling that I wanted to get some pink in there. Just keep adding color to it. Wherever your lights and darks are, just choose a color that you think is really pretty or kind of goes with it. And it's the lights and the darks that are important, not necessarily the local color. You can get to choose what you want to do with that. And that's about it, really. I mean, not much more to go. Like I say, you can continue on this as long as you want to. And as long as you're having fun, that's what's important. Thanks again for coming along on this little journey with me. Last thing you want to do is sign this. You can sign it with whatever color you want to sign it with. I'm just going to do a little purple right here. That's not as dark as I wanted it. Maybe I'll do a little blue on top of that, huh? I hope y'all have a lovely day. And thanks for drawing with me. Remember, art makes life better.